You're watching Swipe. Here's a glimpse at what we'll be bringing you in the next 10 minutes or so get comfy.
Thomas looks to the stars as he learns about a new space programme. I head back to school for a spot of GCSE science with an online tool that could boost A grades. And in our games review, Cam's got the follow-up to an award-winning adventure title.
That's all to come, but first, let's get a quick look at the tech stories that made headlines this week.
Toyota said it'll begin testing its self-driving electric cars in around 3 years' time.
Nice to meet you, Yui.
And it's nice to meet you, Noah.
The vehicles, which could look like this, will reportedly be able to guess a driver's emotions and alertness by reading expressions and tone of voice. The world's first child car seat with built-in airbags has been launched. The designers say the bags in the shoulder pads and harness inflate within 0.05 seconds. And Facebook's going to help train up students from UK secondary schools as digital safety and anti-bullying ambassadors. The social media giant is partnering with 2 charities on the programme over the next 2 years.
This week, Thomas told us he was going to get into one of the country's most heavily protected military sites. We thought he was talking rubbish. Strangely, he was.
60 years since the first man-made satellite entered orbit, and today we're continuing to pump the upper atmosphere with gadgetry. Things are starting to get a little crowded up there. This is one of the country's most secretive military sites, Porton Down. It's home to the MOD's Defence Science and Technology Laboratory, or DSTL. They've just received a cash injection of £50 million from government to help relaunch the lab's space programme.
That funding is not just about what we can do here at DSTL, but it's very much about working with the UK space sector as a whole. It's a really vibrant, exciting sector that's growing at a much faster rate than the rest of the economy.
This is just one of the problems DSTL are trying to tackle. Over 500,000 pieces of space debris now litter Earth's orbit, and travelling at up to 17,500 miles an hour, there's potential for them to cause a lot of damage.
So what DSTL is doing, we're working with industry and academia, and we're interested in observing and understanding the behaviour of this thing, which is the orbit sail. So the purpose of the sail is basically to bring satellites back from orbit, so to deorbit them in a controlled and safe fashion so that they don't persist on orbit and just create more junk.
So this is what we might term a responsible satellite, one that will clean up after itself.
It is, absolutely. It's just very good practice, very good behaviour, and this may not be the only solution, but it's the kind of thing really that a responsible spacefaring nation should be doing.
Behind closed doors across the secretive Porton Down site, ideas and concepts are being thought up that will have a real impact on how humans work in space.
And poaching the next generation of scientists is DSTL's next mission.
Certainly we're looking to harness some of that talent for defence for DSTL, and we've got a couple of recruitment campaigns going on at the moment.
So here's looking at you. Fancy yourself a job in space? Thomas Newton, Sky News, Porton Down.
The schools have been back for more than a month now, and for anyone in Year 11, that means GCSE preparations are in full swing with all the textbook homework that comes with them. But some schools are encouraging students to spend more time on their phones and tablets, and it's all down to an intelligent learning programme.
Class 11 ASC3 have got a lot to learn for their GCSE science exams, so they're getting help from an online tool called Tassamai.
Everybody logged in all right?
A programme that mixes multiple choice questions with intelligent learning so it can figure out what each student knows and what they need to know. Pupils use it on any device with an emphasis on little and often, and when they're not in the classroom.
About 10 minutes a day is what you're supposed to do.
Does it feel like an extra stress?
It's not really stressful. It's kind of easy to work.
Can the teachers tell when you haven't been using it?
Yes.
And what happens then?
Oh, you got to make an excuse up.
It's really easy, you don't have to write. Like kids, boys especially, we don't really like writing very much.
The oxygenated blood enters into the...
This school is one of more than 340 across the UK that have signed up to use the programme, proving the education tech is being embraced by teachers, even though the actual exams are still written.
All of our boys, if you ask them, can probably type quicker than they can write, and that was certainly not the case when I was at school. So it's important to keep that skill of writing going, so it's important. So we have a mix of both. Quite often I'll see a group of boys in the playground or a group of boys in the breakfast club and they're all on their phones and you think, what are they looking at? And they're all on their Tassamai wheels, sort of trying to get ahead of each other.
The London-based creator behind the programme says it's better than a private tutor, and he should know he used to be one.
So the idea is it's like your ultimate revision and learning coach. It's serving up quizzes that are based on every student's individual past history.
And the results, he says, have been extraordinary.
Depending on the exam you look at, the A star and A rate is about 10%. We're getting, 45, 50% A star and A.
And how do you know it's down to Tassamai?
I wouldn't even claim it is entirely down to Tassamai, We're not like a magic bullet, but we're a really useful tool in the arsenal of any student or any teacher or parent helping students prepare for exams.
When you're done with all that revision, take a break, relax, play some video games maybe. This week, Cameron Robinson has been back in the Swipe Games studio with his pick of some of the latest releases.
Divinity Original Sin 2 is nothing short of a masterpiece.
Welcome, adventurer, to an RPG unlike any other.
Now, in this epic, you play in a world where sorcery is illegal, and of course your character is a sorcerer. Now, you can play one of the many preset characters who have their own backstories and motivations, or you can create your own, and the customization is huge. So if you want to be an undead dwarf who's a witch and also plays the cello, you can do it. It's so much customization options in there with your character. However, I think the best thing for me about Divinity Original Sin 2 is that the world feels real. Now, your actions have consequences. Now, you can create a party of up to 4 people, so you can recruit 3 others to join you in your quest, and they can be computer controlled, but the absolute best way to play this game is to get 3 of your friends to play online. Maybe you book an evening for, every week for a couple of months, and you play through this whole epic adventure, because you're going to need about 100 hours. Dishonored: Death of the Outsider is the final part of the Dishonored trilogy. Now, if you've never played a Dishonored game, I think they're fantastic. They're probably some of the best first-person action games out there, and you always play as a supernatural assassin. Now, what is a supernatural assassin? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. You go around taking out bad guys, and you have powers at your disposal. And that is the key to Dishonored. It's combining the stealthy first-person mechanics with these outrageous powers that you have on your hands, literally. So you can, in Death of the Outsider, if you see an NPC, you can become them and use their visage to walk through and get access to different parts of the city. You can teleport to higher ledges, and it's just a fantastic experience. It does that thing where if you use the powers correctly, you feel super powerful. But if you mess it up, you will be punished quite quickly. So it's that wonderful balance. So it's a fantastic game to pick up, great end to the series, and if you've never played Dishonored, what have you been doing? Go and play it now. If you've ever dreamed of being a space pirate, then Heat Signature is a game for you. You play as a contractor and you take on missions which all involve breaking into spaceships. Now that might be to assassinate someone, or to kidnap someone, or maybe steal a thing, or maybe even steal the whole spaceship. Now, if you've ever played a top-down game like maybe Hotline Miami or something like that before, you'll be very familiar and at home with the controls of Heat Signature, but it's completely different. In games like Hotline Miami, it's all about trying and dying and then trying again. However, if you die in Heat Signature, your character is dead. If a window breaks and you get sucked out into the cold vacuum of space and you don't manage to rescue yourself by remote controlling your spaceship, that character is gone, and you have to start again with a new character. What makes Heat Signature unique, however, is the pause menu. It doesn't sound very exciting, but it's crucial to the game. At any time, you can hit spacebar, you pause the game, and you can look tactically at your situation and figure out how to solve it. Because that's what this game's about. It's about breaking into spaceships, making mistakes, setting off the alarms, being surrounded by guards, hitting that spacebar, looking at the situation and thinking, how on earth do I get out of this alive? And that's also what makes this game so great.
So we've reached the end of the show, but you can always follow us on Twitter @SkyNewsSwipe, and you can see what we get up to throughout the week. I'll be back with more Swipe next time. I hope you can join us then. Bye-bye.